I wish everyone a pleasant story. My father was one of the secretaries of the Anqing prefecture of Suzhou Road. His position was to oversee documents and files. His monthly salary was only 2 yuan. Suzhou people are famous for their gourmet tastes and their playful and free-spirited nature. Saying such harsh words with such a small amount of wisdom, I'm afraid it will be difficult to even fill one's stomach. A piece of official food has been swallowed for 20 years. My father's pocket cannot even move 2 deep coins. According to the usual interest, our family's situation would not be as miserable as this. Although the great Yan dynasty respected officials and looked down on the scribes, and the salaries of officials were many times higher than the small food allowance of scribes, the ones who actually took care of the work were, after all, still the ones under their command. Wanting to make money for themselves was as easy as pie. Paper and pen expenses, copying fees were all surefire ways to make money. That is why there is a saying that Dai Yan has no officials who are not corrupt, and when they are officials, they will do whatever they can to suppress their greed. But unfortunately, my father was an unusual person. He was timid and cowardly to the point of being strange. Others kept the eyes open, others collected money, others bought pens and turned paper to extort money from the people. Some were even so bold as to collude with superiors, cheat on the books, and selectively swallow the country's money. But my father was different. He was afraid to walk on the street in broad daylight, but suddenly his head was cut off by a loud voice. Therefore, over the years, no matter how much people oppressed him, he never had the slightest intention of deceit. Fortunately, my mother left behind a couple of stalls. Over the years, thanks to the small amount of rent, my father and I were able to escape the life of living under the open sky and on the streets. Despite my difficult circumstances, my name is Ko Tan Lu. The reason I have this name is because when my mother was pregnant with me, she craved Lu. My mother's name is Ko Tru Nok. I am my mother's daughter. My family name is Company. My father was raised by my mother since I was a child. His last name was also Ko, and he was the richest of the 8 generations of sons-in-law in the Ko family. My father promised that he would definitely find me a son-in-law who was better than him. Ever since I learned to use chopsticks, my father started looking for me. Like a man who wants to raise a daughter, and still wants to choose a son-in-law. To put it bluntly, my family is so poor that we can't even lick them. Don't even talk about choosing a son-in-law, it's hard to even raise a dog. Talking about marriage, it's hard to avoid being hated. The matchmaker didn't want to pay attention to him. Love affairs are all one-sided. Neighbors drank from the same well. Then people wrinkled their noses and agreed to let it go. But my father was so picky, he even criticized people for having crooked noses and crooked eyes. Looking back and forth in his mouth, there was not a single person he liked. The matchmaker was so angry that her heart ached. As soon as she saw my father, she grabbed a broom and chased him away. He even dared to come here. She was so angry that she pointed at my father's nose and cursed him. You old fool, your fate is as miserable as your father's, encountering a plague like you. My father didn't feel the least bit ashamed, on the contrary. He strongly blamed the matchmaker for being heartless. Those brats you found for me. Her face is so ugly that it hurts the eyes. Our daughter is so pretty and gentle. How dare you introduce such a thing? The matchmaker was so angry when she heard that. Her eyes filled with anger. She waved the thorny bamboo broom in her hand. She made my father run away on all fours. He wanted a bright face, a well-proportioned body, and also wanted nimble hands and feet, a smooth tongue, preferably an orphan. The 2 coins of money for a son-in-law to live with his wife were meager, but the conditions he gave were a whole basketful. My father ran away with his head in his hands, but he still did not forget to retort, what if there is no money? Unless the young man is poor, my family has a lot of spirit. When he grows up, he will be a person with a bright future. This beautiful young lady, because she is like a fairy descending to earth, my family is willing to take her home. Ah! The matchmaker was so angry that she laughed loudly. Oh, while talking, she clapped her hands continuously. Take her home, why can't we take her home? She coldly snorted, sooner or later you guys will have to take home a man like a fairy. These words were originally just an angry remark. Who would have thought? It was exactly as she said. When I was 16, my father went out alone to look at the books, and when he returned, he brought a stranger with him. My family home was left to me by my ancestors. It wasn't considered big, but it was definitely not small. There were countless rooms, and my father was determined to take that person's card and move into the small building that I loved the most. Seeing that my future bridal chamber had been taken, I returned home from school with a pout, feeling extremely dissatisfied. Despite my father's objections, I rolled up my sleeves and immediately wanted to find that person to settle the score. After I finished my rampage and went upstairs, I forcefully pushed open the wooden door in front of me. As soon as I raised my head, my soul seemed to have been taken away. In the bright room, a pair of long, narrow eyes were looking at me, smiling and not smiling. The cold eyebrows extended into the temples, the eyes were slightly curved, containing a hint of red. The nose was straight and high like a hanging gallbladder. The red lips looked like they were painted with lipstick. Simple white clothes, jet black hair, looking elegant. The other person leaned lazily on the small couch, his gestures elegant, naturally exuding a natural charm. I stared blankly, walked over and reached out to touch Tuan Mai's face. "Who are you?" The man looked at me intently, his charming eyes slightly narrowed. He was already in my bridal chamber. I tilted my head to look at him, startled, and said, "I see you are the husband that father chose for me." I turned my head to see father hurriedly walking over. I no longer had any anger, and immediately happily praised him. Good father, so thoughtful. I just want to marry such a handsome husband. Father's little face turned pale. Oh my God. The person standing at the door wanted to step forward but didn't dare. Scratching his head and hands for a long time, he finally choked out a sentence. No, this absolutely cannot be done. At this time I can't listen anymore. Hurriedly stomping my feet, I kept saying, Okay. OTT. Father stomped his feet in anger. This really wasn't allowed. Why? This was the first time my father had rejected me like this. I felt really wronged. Sniffing, I started whining. Father. This man is handsome. I just want to marry him. Father's face was ashen. His legs were shaking non-stop. Hello? Quickly wiping away the sweat, father desperately winked at me. My dear, listen to me. I'm afraid my family can't afford to marry this man off. That's right, our family is so poor. Where can we get the money to marry a son-in-law? Such a handsome husband. Even if you use a lantern to search for him, you still won't be able to find him. Thinking about it again and again, I still couldn't bear it. Secretly encouraging myself, I turned around. Nervously looking at the person in front of me, I quietly discussed, I really like that person. Can you come and live with my family temporarily? When I grow up, I will definitely pay you back for the dowry. My father stood by and almost fainted. This was too shameless. There was no way he would pay after bringing the son-in-law home. But there is no other way now. My face flushed, I struggled to continue, although my family is still very poor. But I will definitely find a way to earn money. When I earn money, I will give it all to you. You can spend it however you want. I swear I will treat you very, very well. Oh, the person opposite raised his long eyebrows slightly. With 3 parts of a smile in his eyes, he said, Then how do you plan to treat me well? The voice was clear, like the sound of 2 jade pendants colliding. I thought seriously for a long time, then started counting things one by one. Every day after school, I would visit him, buy him delicious food, chat with him, pick flowers in spring and buy fruits in autumn, make tea in winter and admire lotus flowers in summer. When it's hot, I'll fan you. When it's cold, I'll roast sweet potatoes for you. When it's neither hot nor cold, I'll drop the axe, play shuttlecock and go out with you. I said everything I could promise him in one breath. Why are you treating me so well? The fox eyes on Tuan Chau's face curved up. The other person smiled slightly for a moment. Then he lazily said, If that's the case, then I'll stay at your house. I opened my eyes wide in surprise. After reacting, my heart was filled with joy. Great, I shouted, jumping up and down, making the necklace on my chest jingle. I reached out to hug the person in front of me, turned my head and said to my father, a little dizzy, Father, Alu already has a husband. The net just fell, my father's eyes widened, and he fell straight to the ground. I got a husband with my own ability. This was originally a great joy. For some reason, my father was not very happy when he saw that person. The next day, when he picked me up from school, he bought red paper on the way and told me to write a marriage contract myself. I lay on the desk, my hand tracing each stroke of the pen, my mouth muttering, respectfully, the fate of the willow tree, the appearance of morality, relying on the white shadow, admiring the great virtue of my parents, the commoner Tan Lu from Thuc Chau Prefecture, respectfully uses this marriage promise, respectfully offering it up. Writing up to here I stop. This marriage came too hastily. Until now I still don't know Lan Quan's name. Raising my head I smiled and called out, "Husband." The person standing in front of the window leisurely looked over, his lazy eyebrows drooping. Marrying Lan Junjun Xiao, my heart was filled with indescribable joy, and my voice was also much sweeter. "What is your name?" The husband pursed his thin lips, his eyes flashed with a smile. "My husband's name is Thuc Chau. Tanoyet Chu Ki." I deliberately used the correct name, my eyes lit up, and I opened my mouth to praise. "Husband, your name is so nice to hear. The name Fragrant Flower is also very nice." Slender fingers gently tapped on the window frame. He looked towards the pomegranate tree in the yard. "Tan Lu, is it from this tree?" "No." I scratched my head. "It's a different tree. This tree was planted by my father when he missed my mother. When my mother was pregnant with me, the pomegranate flowers were still blooming on the branches. That day when she gave birth, she cried and asked to eat pomegranate. My father searched all over the palace for blessings, but could only find a single pomegranate with a green skin. When father returned, his hand was tightly holding the green pomegranate. When mother was lying in the coffin, he was also tightly holding the green pomegranate. 7 days later, father quietly planted a pomegranate tree in the yard. My husband is too late. The season for pomegranates has just passed. I lightly nibbled on the tip of my pen and remembered something that could be good for you. After 5 years of pomegranates ripening, I will definitely pick the biggest one to offer you. Suddenly a soft laugh echoed in my ear. Is my husband treating me so attentively? Yes, I quickly nodded, picked up the pen and continued writing the marriage letter. Oh right, my husband, what is your name? The general marriage. A hand gently reached out from beside me, taking the goat hair brush from my hand. From now on, I vow to bear my great-grandfather's surname. My eyes widened in surprise. On the sparkling pink paper, a strong round line of words appeared before her eyes. My husband's family name is Ko. His given name is Thuc Chau. Does Alu still remember him? Ko Thuc Chau. Silently reading that name in my heart, I felt that I was so adorable, having captured the heart of the person in front of me. Not only did he not bring a gift, he even changed his last name to mine. Just like that, back and forth, it was inevitable that in my heart, I would feel a strange feeling. Miss Thuc Chau slightly curved her phoenix eyes like a fox. Quickly finishing writing the marriage letter, he carefully put the pink paper between the pages of the book, then he tied it up high in the attic. This marriage letter I ask permission to keep for my wife. He bowed his head to look at me, his expression calm as he said, "If my wife does not let me live a good life, then I cannot return this marriage letter. The village army can rest assured." I patted my chest lightly, my expression full of solemn oath. "Husband, I am a good and upright daughter. I will not let you suffer any deprivation. It is time for dinner." A familiar voice called from downstairs. I quickly brought the meat and ran to the river gate. In the yard, father was wearing a coarse cloth shirt, holding a cooking utensil in his hand, looking left and right as he looked upstairs. Seeing my figure, he cleared his throat slightly and called the young man upstairs to come down and eat. Why is father so distant from him? I pursed my lips and looked at father with some disapproval. My husband is now a family member, he has a proper name and surname, this and that, it's heartbreaking to hear. It's okay. Ko Thuc Chau walked to my side, smiled slightly at father-in-law, little Thuc Chau asked to perform the ceremony. My father trembled slightly and pulled at his clothes, suddenly becoming unusually flustered. What is this? I puffed my cheeks, my tone sincere. Father, my husband's heart towards me is sincere. Father doesn't know, he has already decided to change his family name. Change his family name? Father was confused, change to what family name? I pursed my lips and said proudly, my husband said to marry the general wife, from now on, he will follow my great-grandfather's family name. What? Father was so surprised that his voice was hoarse. The face was blank as he pointed at the person next to me, as if his soul had left his body. He stammered he changed his last name. I firmly affirmed the first beat. Suddenly, a loud bang rang out, and the cooking pot in father's hand fell to the ground. The days after becoming husband and wife were indeed very different from before. Before, there were only the two of us in the house. After we had finished dressing up and had breakfast together, father and son would each do their own thing. My father came to the house to take roll call and then took me to school, and at noon he hurried to the communal kitchen. Life at that time was peaceful and quiet, like the surface of a pond. Now, with another person in the house, all the daily routines had to be reconciled and adapted. I only had 2 days off and now I have to go back to school. What can I do? My father has already paid my tuition. Even if it's just food, I have to study hard to make it worth my money. So during the day, only Thuc Chau was left at home. I was really worried. Before leaving the house, I put on my bag, ran to his room and warmed up lunch in the pot. Husband, don't let yourself go hungry. There is hot water in the kettle. Husband, don't let yourself get thirsty. There are books in the room, cakes on the cupboard. There are vegetables in the kitchen, don't touch them. If a stranger knocks at the door, don't make a sound. I kept on reminding him. Thuc Chau didn't find me annoying at all. He was kind-hearted and agreed to everything. He raised his head and pointed to the sky leisurely, saying, "It's late." I wondered, "What's late?" Mei Xiaoling chuckled lightly, her expression not showing any panic. "Of course the lady is late for school. Who is it?" I glanced at the time and was shocked. It was really getting late. Immediately, not daring to jump again, turned around and started running towards the school. Hastily put on my school bag and went out to see. Father was wearing black clothes, his hands clasped behind his back. He was already far away. Quickly caught up. The house and the private school were 2 streets apart, always passing through small alleys. My father had just made it to roll call on time, but I was scolded by the teacher for being late. I languidly sat down next to the window. Taking out a successful beer stamping copy from my bag, I quickly spread out the paper and rolled up my sleeves. This lesson was calligraphy, practicing imitating Ouyang Sun's handwriting. After dipping the ink, I let out a soft sigh. In the past, Emperor Xuanzong failed to bring about political affairs because of Yang Guifei. Now, this pomegranate has been interrupted by the imperial edict. It is truly worthy of the name of Shu as a place of spiritual and talented people. Duong Nakhon's hometown is only a few hundred miles away from our Khan Palace. I put aside the random words in my head, held my breath, and started to practice writing. Unexpectedly, as soon as I finished writing 2 horizontal and vertical strokes, I heard the sound of black boots walking past from the corridor outside the window. I turned my head back in a hurry. Mr. Hong, the math teacher, glanced at me meaningfully, then slowly left. A drop of ink fell, staining the bowl of rice black. My head buzzed. Oh no, I keep blaming myself for feeling like something is wrong. Oh no, Ni. As soon as I saw Oh no Ni's father at school, I felt uneasy all day. When school ended, I didn't want my father to pick me up, so I rushed straight to the Hong family's house. Oh no Ni's relatives were sitting in the stall to prepare the rice. Standing on the other side of the stone bridge, seeing my flustered appearance, she burst out laughing. "Oh dear, I haven't seen you for a few days. Where did you run off to?" I stopped in front of the stall, panting and answering, I didn't go anywhere. What about my Hung? Is Oh no Ni at home?" "She is, but she's not happy. Be careful not to get angry." "Oh my God, what should I do? I'm so sad." "It's because you didn't come to find her." Oh no Ni's mother looked at me with a slightly pleased expression. "A few days ago you said you wanted to eat sticky rice, but I made it myself. You and Mulan have been waiting for you for the past few days." As soon as you said that, there was already a sound of resentment in the house. Your mother was talking nonsense. Oh no Ni lifted the curtain and angrily said, "Who's waiting for you?" "I'm waiting for a puppy." After saying that, she angrily turned back into the house. I glanced at her face and my heart felt bitter. This was bad. This time she was really angry. Oh no Ni's mother covered her mouth and giggled, then pointed inside the house. I quickly lifted my veil and walked in to shake her off. Inside the room, Oh no Ni was wearing a red beaded dress with gorgeous gold sequins, making the whole room bright. Seeing me, she let out a loud yelp and turned away. Knowing that she liked to be beautiful, I smiled and approached. Oh no Ni is wearing a beautiful new dress today. How come I have never seen it before? Having said that, I waved my hand in the air. Beautiful, so beautiful. Don't be so sweet-talking. Oh no Ni opened her pretty cat eyes wide, pouting and pinching my hand. You're so stubborn. I have to question you. Where have you been these past few days? Who have you met? Quickly tell me the truth. Pressing Ono knee, I clasped my hands and honestly told him, this commoner hasn't gone anywhere. Just stayed at home. Marry another husband. What? Marry a husband? Ono knee's hands were shaking, such a big thing, and I didn't even know about it. Good for you, you tried to be clear-minded, you dared to hide it from me. Your Excellency will judge clearly. I quickly explained, how could I dare hide our marriage from Ono knee? It was just that we got married in a hurry. There was only a marriage certificate, but my father told me to wait until I grew up to have a wedding banquet, and then he would invite the neighborhood to perform. I really didn't mean it, I just had to go to school first, and right after that I had to stay with the groom, so I didn't have time to tell her. How strange, as soon as she heard the words at the groom's side. Ono knee was so angry that she cried, tears streaming down her face. You're married to your husband. In my heart there was only him, there was no longer me. Oh God, oh Buddha. I felt extremely wronged. I quickly raised my 2 hands above my head and swore towards her, asking the 2-headed Buddha on the south slope to witness. Gu Qingluo said that even if I forgot myself, I absolutely could not have Ono knee in my heart. Ono knee would not listen to me. She buried her face in the bed, crying and ignoring me. I surrounded her, worrying her to the point of lying, but no matter how I tried to comfort her, it was useless. Just as I was about to start walking, the 2 curtains were lifted again. Seeing you just arrived, my eyes lit up. She stretched out her hand towards that person and pleaded earnestly. Mulan, save me. Mulan wore a bright red round-necked robe with neat gold embroidery, and underneath she wore light blue breeches, clearly the same color as Ono knee's long pinafore dress. I rubbed my eyes. Oh no, this is clearly the same scale. You still dare to ask for help from others? Ono knee sat up angrily, her small and pretty mouth opened, and said to Mulan with grievance, Mutu, you don't know, Alu has already forgotten about us. He's completely infatuated with that strange man outside. Huh. Mulan's expression changed slightly, and she walked towards us. Standing in front of the bed, she pulled my hand like Antoine's eyebrows and asked me in detail, is that person tall? Is he strong? How strong is he? If he dares to bully you, will I fight back? She clenched her hand, her strong biceps hidden inside her sleeve. As expected of her mother who named her Mok Lan, she is truly a woman who is no less than a man. Only her long legs and tall figure, compared to me and Ono knee in front of her, she is no different from 2 short people. Mulan was still looking at me, but at this moment I had no mind to reply to her. My eyes were fixed forward, standing there, feeling a pang of sadness in my heart. Ono knee saw that I was silent, and became even angrier, saying, Look at her, she didn't say anything, she was truly captivated by that strange man. Clearly said only good to us. She sobbed and said, saying that she didn't keep her word, Gu Qingluo was a dog. Mulan immediately hugged her and gently comforted her. The 2 of you were making love, but you didn't even notice me watching. My throat was tight, my pen was sore, I thought you were really heartless. My legs were kicking wildly, tears were falling into my mouth. The bitterness made my heart cold. Behind my back you dared to wear the same clothes. You 2 dare to go behind my back and wear the same clothes. You 2 are the dogs. I cried and cried, you 2 evil dogs abandoned me. The 2 people facing each other looked at each other in bewilderment. A trace of embarrassment flashed in their eyes. This time I will not let it go. How about you? I raised my finger and pointed at the 2 of them. Han Shui said, my husband has just returned to stay for a few days. I made 2 sets of clothes that were clearly not meant to be. It seems that before I married my husband, you 2 were secretly conspiring with each other. I am so heartbroken that tears are falling down my face. For a moment I wanted to run away. From now on I will cut ties with these 2 people and wait until I make new friends. When we meet again I will just turn my back and ignore them, making them regret it to the point of heartbreak. One hugged my leg, the other my waist. Both cried and begged me to forgive them. But my heart was as cold as ashes. I ordered them to shake their hands away, only uttered a sentence to take care of themselves, then took off my shirt and left. Yes, how dare you hurt me so much? I must abandon my love and leave my homeland, drift with the wind, leaving those 2 to live forever in regret for losing me. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I struggled to get up, bit my lip and was about to rush to the door. An arm reached out from somewhere, pink and limp. Magnolia walked straight towards the bed, ignoring my wild kicking and flailing. Waiting for her to press me down, a slender white hand reached out and suddenly covered my mouth. Oh no, Ni smiled brightly at me, no longer angry. Lu Hone, don't take what just happened to heart. The previous words were just said in anger. I know you have me in your heart. I'm not angry anymore. Don't be angry with me either. How can it be the same? I was still angry and said, I just got another husband, but you two wear the same set of clothes. As I said that, I felt wronged and cried. The corner of my eye caught the two of them looking at each other again. I was angry. You can't flirt behind my back. The two's faces were red in the eyes. She hugged my shoulder, gently coaxing me. Her voice was coquettish. Oh, it's all our fault, making Alu sad. It's just a set of clothes. You just go to Mrs. Zhou and pick a few. I'll make you another really nice one. Okay? I gasped, really? Of course it was true. Onon raised 2 fingers. I will definitely make Alu the most beautiful set. I guarantee everyone in the school will be jealous when they see it. That's fine too. I took a step back, bared my teeth at her. Then you can't be the closest to Mulan. Then turned to look at Mulan. You are not close to the most beautiful Onon. The 2 people answered in unison. My expression softened. The 3 of us looked at each other and burst out laughing. The whole village was a clown. After a while of commotion, I finally remembered something important. I waved my hand, mysteriously saying I had something to discuss with the 2 of you. Come here and I will whisper it to you. The 3 small, shaggy heads gathered together. A moment later. Great, her sparkling eyes were sparkling. She happily clapped her hands. This is great. When we got home it was already dark. I hummed a song, put on my school bag and skipped home happily. Father stood leisurely in front of the gate with his hands clasped behind his back, and slowly said to me, I was just about to go catch this naughty girl, but she came back. I smiled at him. I don't need father to catch her. The fragrant smell of rice wafted through the air. My stomach growled. I pulled my father's sleeve and dragged him into the yard. I was so hungry I quickly jumped over the threshold, my 2 long braids fluttering in the wind. Father, I want 3 bowls of rice tonight. Lei just picked up. The person standing in the yard raised his head to look. I was startled, suddenly remembering that I already had a husband, and had been playing outside until now. Hadn't I left him hungry? I stumbled towards that person, and was about to open my mouth to explain, when the person in front of me spoke first and cried. I was stunned. The lady in the mirror lowered her head to look at me, her tone gentle but full of certainty. My husband's eyes are really sharp. I thought to myself, is it because the fox has turned into nothing that he is so sharp? Behind me, my father was slightly confused. I glanced at him doubtfully, then turned my head, looked up at her, but tilted my head back and forth to look at Nia. I looked at Nia for a long time, but only saw in those beautiful eyes the reflection of my own bulging eyes like 2 walnuts. She smiled slightly. If I really was a fox spirit, what would she do? After thinking for a moment, I replied, since my husband is grateful, I do not want to invite the Taoist priest to arrest him. He was surprised that she did not want to hurt me so much. That is not true. I honestly looked at him. He had already transformed into a human form. He was definitely a great demon with great magical power. Inviting a Taoist priest would definitely cost a lot of money. I didn't have any money to make up for it. Behind my father's back, there was a slight disturbance. Okay. You must be hungry. My father quickly interrupted. Eat first. Cold fish is not tasty. She smiled and nodded, stepping forward. I took a step back. Just as I was about to follow, my father pulled my hand back. He reached out and stroked my cheek. Good, very good. Taking a deep breath, he felt as if a burden had been lifted and was overjoyed. Intact, carrying a pig's head on his shoulders. What was that? I angrily pushed his hand away. Father is the pig. After saying that, I also entered the house. Father shook his head and waved his hand, following me in. Seeing me quickly washing the dishes, he proudly lifted the basket covering the pot. The heat and fragrant aroma of the food spread throughout the house. I was so hungry that my mouth was watering. But when the food was served, I did not touch my chopsticks. I pointed to the left with a straight face and my father sat down. My father sat down and then I pointed to the right with a straight face. Husband, please sit down. Husband, please sit down. I have something to announce. Patting my chest, I raised my thumb and pointed at myself. My child, Ms. Tan Lu, is about to start a business to support the whole family. The room suddenly fell silent. I looked at this person, then at that person. A moment later, the whole family burst into laughter like thunder. Haha, father laughed so hard that he fell over, holding his stomach and screaming. What? Why does my stomach suddenly hurt like this? Thuc Chau couldn't help but laugh. I was so embarrassed that my face turned red, and my words were somewhat angry. Laughing? What are you laughing at? With my hands on my hips I said, Father, don't look down on others. Father continued to laugh heartily. After a long while, he quickly wiped away the tears from the corner of his eyes. He waved his hand, let's eat, let's eat. Let's not eat anymore or it will get cold. I felt so defeated I couldn't bear it anymore for the children. What a bad father. I was resentful. Before, father always praised me for my great intelligence, but now he laughs at me. Were those words all lies? Father has never lied to me. Father scooped up a full bowl of rice, placed it with chopsticks in front of me, and said that as long as I am at this age, being able to eat 2 more bowls of rice, that is truly capable. I was not convinced. Turning to look at Miss Thuc Chau, I raised my head and firmly said that I could give you and your father a good life. Your Majesty, do you believe me? Miss Thuc Chau slowly blinked. Don't worry, my wife. If I get into trouble, the husband here still has some money left. 1 person, 2 people, yet no one believes me. I don't want to say anything more to them, they will understand later. How talented is this lady? Just wait until next year, when her purse is full of gold and silver. I picked up my bowl of rice, and turned the resentment in my heart into strength to eat the rice quickly. After eating a few bites, my chopsticks suddenly stopped because they were not something. Huh. I suspiciously scooped up the rice in the bowl, looked closely, and saw a huge chicken leg unexpectedly lying at the bottom of the bowl. Picking up the chicken leg, I turned my head to look at my father in confusion. The person sitting on the left immediately stood up, with a completely natural expression, carrying the rice bowl and walking out the door. As he walked, he muttered, "Oh my, I forgot the bathroom stove was still on. Why does it sound like the bath water is boiling?" I had clearly just finished eating. When I passed the bathroom stove, I saw my father again. Under the yellow candlelight, my father fondled my daughter, muttering, intact, intact, carrying a smart head on his shoulders. These past few days, I had been rubbing her back and acting spoiled. My father acted for a while, and finally gave me a shop in the house. That's right, the 3 of us have decided to open a shop selling sweets made from glutinous rice together. Before, we were raised by our parents and got used to a carefree life, never having to worry about money or food. But now things are different. The 3 of us will be the ones to build a great business. So, first of all, we have to make a specific plan. But when we go in, 1 person is bewildered, the other is naive. I am only good at eating and drinking, while she is stubborn as a buffalo. Luckily, Ono Ni was a smart and kind person. She spoke well, had a quick mind, and was able to calculate clearly. Because her mother sold rice wine, and her father specialized in teaching math. She has been familiar with these things since she was young, so she is very good at accounting. Not to mention, she also makes delicious sweets from sticky rice. This little girl has a clever heart and exquisite skills. She is truly a natural-born person to be the owner of my sweet wine shop. One day after school, I went to the second son's house again. Unlike usual times when it was just for fun, this time we had important matters to attend to. The setting sun was turning the horizon red. In the courtyard, Mulan and I sat side by side, listening to the Oriole's gentle advice. Tomorrow we will go look at the shop. When the shop is decorated properly, it will be time to buy goods. Mulan and I have never been in the business of life. She has always been kind and considerate, and has always been there to help us find our way. Fruit goes to Mrs. Wang's fruit stall, and honey goes to the jade lady in the market behind. As for cow's milk, Lai Ma Tu's house in the suburbs has it, and Tutu's house next door sells dried goods. We can ask them to peel the husks there. And as for the glutinous rice, my mother is a person who does this job, so just go to her and get it. In the kitchen, the mother was mixing yeast into a batch of fragrant sticky rice. Hearing that, she raised her head, meaning to hang the rice, love and pay. This girl is really good. She is doing business above her mother's head. No problem. Oni raised her head. Her expression was very righteous. Mother and daughter are blood relatives, clear and distinct. I absolutely do not lack a single thing from my mother. But then again, I have to say it again. She turned her sharp eyes. Continue, I am your biological daughter. Mother, please give me 7 parts of the profit. Consider it as a token of your love for me. When I earn money, the first thing I will do is make my mother a pair of gold earrings. This Oni also loves her mother very much. Who knows, it seems this time I have to agree. This little girl has a clever heart and exquisite craftsmanship. She is truly a natural-born person to be the mistress of my sweet wine shop. Everyone felt extremely satisfied. Seeing that time was passing quickly, I took my leave of the two of them, shouldered my book, and returned home alone. On the way back, I came across a patch of dog grass. I suddenly felt admiration for it, so I picked a handful. I, Miss Tan Lu, have always been a talkative person. I had promised Miss Thuc Chau that I would treat him well. Therefore, these past few days, whenever I returned from school, I would bring him something. Sometimes it was a small piece of cake, sometimes it was a fresh flower. In short, I had never once come to see him empty-handed. But today is different. Today time is pressing and I don't have any money left in my pocket, so I'll give him some wild flowers. I thought for a moment, shook my head, and leisurely returned home. Arriving at the front door, I held the bundle of dogtail grass tightly in my hand. My left foot was about to step over the threshold, but suddenly my heart moved and I stopped. Only rare things are precious. If I give away too much at once, I will no longer feel happy. Standing at the threshold, I carefully selected for a long time, and finally picked out the most virtuous branch of dog's tail grass. Then I carefully walked into the house and headed straight to the small floor. My father had some official business and had not returned to the palace yet. The house was quiet and still. At this moment, Thuc Chau was sitting calmly next to a book. I gently walked to his side, one hand hidden behind my back, smiling mysteriously and said, "For you." Thuc Chau carried me, her long strong hands took the fat dogtail grass. A bright light flashed in her eyes. He asked without any hesitation, "Thank you, wife, what is this?" I puffed out my chest and answered loudly, "Husband doesn't know, this thing is called arhat grass, extremely rare. Alu accidentally came across a bush on my way home from school. Hurriedly picked it up and gave it to you. So that's it." Gu Suzhao suddenly realized. It seemed that she was also somewhat touched in her heart, and sincerely thanked him. Making Alu worried because my husband was extremely happy. It's okay. I said softly, took the arhat grass branch from his hand, walked towards the empty flower vase on the desk, and said, "This grass is rare. I will help my husband put it in the vase so he can slowly enjoy it." After planting, I immediately tried to understand the meaning, but no matter how I looked, I couldn't see any beauty. Embarrassed, I returned to his side and forced a smile. This time I only picked one tree, it looked a bit lonely. Next time we meet, I'll pick a few more to make it more lively. Thuc Chau nodded slightly. His eyes were as gentle as water. He gently stroked my head as if saying, "Alu always thinks of me. I, Thuc Chau, am truly blessed to marry you. That Tuan, my face is so close, and his voice is so gentle. I am truly about to be praised by him to the point of my soul leaving my body, thinking that I have escaped from the mortal world." Just as I was about to wave my hand humbly, a chaotic sound of chickens and dogs came from beside me. In no time, my father's most furious scolding came from downstairs. Which rebellious son dared to throw a pile of dogtail grass in front of his house? I stood up straight. Miss Suzhao leisurely squinted her eyes slightly. Dogtail grass. A stream of hot heat rushed straight to the top of my head. My face was strangely red. Covering my burning hands, I hurriedly ran to the window, propped myself up on the railing, and looked down with reproachful eyes. Her father, that's called lahan grass. Luhan my ass. Downstairs, father was holding a broom and dustpan. He stopped and saw me. He shouted at Gu Qinglu, "If you dare to pick random things outside again, I will beat your arm to pieces." I pulled my head back, still feeling resentful inside. I was stubborn and argued it was really lahan grass, it really was lahan grass. Thinking of Miss Suzhao who was in the room, I turned around and still argued stubbornly, "Don't listen to your father's nonsense, what I gave you is lahan grass." Miss Suzhao smiled and glanced at the few dog's tail grasses in the vase. His face seemed to agree. Alu is right, it really is lahan grass. 2 days later, school was out, and Ono Ni invited Magnolia and I to decorate the shop together. The location of this shop seemed quite good, the market in front, the brothel area behind, the left side was Vin Hung Ward, the right side was Dongmon Street, and a little further on it was Tanjong Night Market not far away. Although it is not the most beautiful location, there is definitely a lot of traffic. The previous owners of this shop were an elderly couple. 2 days ago, their father had just helped them move their belongings. Alright, now it is the three of us who will be in charge. Me, Magnolia, and Ono Ni sat side by side on a bench. Magnolia's mother and elder brother brought several extra tables and chairs from the martial arts school and arranged them in a straight row. On the other side, 3 lazy dogs were playing noisily. Me hi, Magnolia haha, Ono Ni humph. After Magnolia's mother and elder brother finished their work, they returned. A short while later, Owner's parents arrived. Owner's father ran all the way from 2 streets to buy her a new abacus. As soon as he arrived, he kept praising his good taste. This abacus is good. This abacus is really a very poor choice. Mother bought a new set of pots and pans, neatly arranged them in the cupboard. The 2 of them were bouncing back and forth, while the 3 of them were pushing the chairs back and forth, joking with each other endlessly. Me hey, Magnolia oh no. Oriole oh no. The parents of the Oriole also returned. My father suddenly carried a large gong into the house, put it down, wiped his sweat and picked up a feather duster. Rolling up his sleeves, my father dusted all the cabinets in the house. Then he took a towel and wiped the dust. The house was bustling with sparrows, and the sound of flutes could be heard everywhere. Me woo-woo. Magnolia ao. Ono nchai woo-woo. Father poured out all the dirty water in the bucket and left. Now there were only 3 of us left in the shop. The room was clean and bright. The 3 of us were exhausted. Wait, it seems like we haven't swept the floor yet. The 3 of us looked at each other. After a while, we simultaneously raised our hands and waved them around. Looking at the 2 hands spread out facing my lonely fist, I pursed my lips and stood up to pick up the dustpan. I bent down and laboriously swept the dust into one place. I took the small dustpan and put it down, using the dustpan to sweep it all in. When I finished, I turned my head and looked back. Those 2 people actually hugged each other secretly. I let out a strange sound, threw the whip in my hand and charged forward. My butt was between the 2 of them. I angrily stomped my feet and told on them. The 2 of them did good things behind my back. Let's have fun together, let's have fun together. Ono Ni giggled, conveniently pushing me into Mok Lan's arms. Immediately after that, Mok Lan wrapped her arms tightly around me, making me unable to move. Ono Ni smiled mischievously, reached out and started to tickle me. I screamed, couldn't help but roll around laughing. Haha. Tears fell. I was so itchy that I couldn't breathe. Don't ha 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 ha. Help me ha 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 ha. Ono Ni still kept trying to save me. I wanted to avoid it, but behind me was a strong Mulan holding me tight. I really couldn't bear it anymore. I couldn't help but cry loudly. The 2 of you bullied me. Hoo, the 2 of you colluded to bully me. Only then did Ono Ni stop. She didn't feel embarrassed at all, but instead proudly pinched my cheek and said, "That's right, we joined forces to bully that person." Sniffling, I gritted my teeth and reached out. Just as I was about to demand justice from the 2 of them, I suddenly saw a familiar figure standing outside the door, straight as a cypress. My movements stopped immediately. I opened my eyes wide, still wet with tears, and called out to the other person in confusion. "Husband." Outside the door, Thuc Chau stood there, the corners of her lips slightly curved, her eyes lowered to look at me, as if saying that Alu had not returned for a long time, and that Bai Fu was worried, so he went to look for her. As he spoke, he took out a handkerchief, bent down, and gently wiped away the tears on my cheeks. "Why are you crying again?" he asked. I smiled brightly. I was just playing with Ono Ni and Magnolia. Thuc Chau smiled slightly, didn't say anything more, gently pulled his sleeve closer. I proudly said to Ono Ni and Magnolia, "This is my husband, Thuc Chau. He is a quiet and shy person, doesn't like to appear in front of crowds, so today you guys have the chance to meet." After saying that, I turned my head towards him again, husband and wife. I called him, pointed at the Ono Nhi, and introduced this as Ono Nhi. Ono Nhi smiled faintly, then pointed at Magnolia. "This is Magnolia." Magnolia glanced at Ono Ni, then silently nodded. I solemnly told Thuc Chau that you are my closest sisters. There is no one else. Hearing that, Ono Ni became happy again. Her face also became much brighter. After everyone greeted each other, Miss Thuc Chau glanced around the room, then reached out her hand towards me. The business here is done. Does Alu want to go home with your husband? The face of Ono Ni immediately fell. She pulled Magnolia with one hand and pulled me with the other. The three of us turned our backs and whispered. Just arrived and already wanted to snatch someone, I told you so. But with that coquettish appearance, how could you not be charmed by him to the point of madness? Ono Ni was clearly angry, but she also had some tricks up her sleeve. She insisted on putting all the blame on Miss Thuc Chau. I felt a little uneasy in my heart, and softly defended him. No, he didn't seduce me, I just liked him. Oh no, Ono Ni was startled. She was drugged and depressed. That vixen was even more cunning than we thought. Magnolia was silent and didn't say anything. She just bowed her head and pondered. I sighed and explained to the two of you, Ono Ni is good, Magnolia is good. This time you two really misunderstood my husband. I didn't lie to you from the first time I met him. I wanted to marry him. At that time he just sat there and didn't say a word. How could he have tempted me? It was obvious that I was loyal at first sight. Ono Ni was still not convinced. I still wanted to say more but was stopped by Magnolia. She put her hand on Ono Ni's shoulder and lowered her head. He had already been in Alu's house, so he was Alu's person. If we kept her and didn't let her be close to her husband, wouldn't that be too petty? On the contrary, it would make Alu feel awkward and lose our demeanor. Ono Ni reluctantly nodded. Magnolia said again, think about it, there's no one to play with at home. Alu is really pitiful. There's no need to be jealous. After all, she's still closer to us than Ono Ni. Hearing this, she felt like she was relying on herself. Taller than me by half a head, she gently stroked my cheek with a look of reluctance. After a long while, she let go of my hand and went home with him to hold Miss Thuc Chau's hand. On the way home, I was constantly complimented by everyone. The neighbors all asked me where I found this husband. Why is he so handsome? Don't be so arrogant. I was as happy as if I was having a party, but on the outside I kept a humble expression and just replied, I don't know either. Father chose me for you. Miss Thuc Chau patiently held my hand. His hand was big and warm, and it felt comfortable to hold. It was just that the palm of his hand was a bit dry, and there was something hard pressing against my hand. When I got home I looked closely and it turned out to be a jade ring. Seeing me curious, Miss Thuc Chau took off the ring and put it on my hand. I played with it for a while, then put it back on his hand. I conveniently touched his pretty hand. Miss Thuc Chau had a pair of beautiful hands. Her fingers were long and slender. The bones were clearly visible on the back of her hand, and her pale blue veins stood out. Her nails were trimmed. The neat and clear revealed a light pink color that made me extremely fond of it. Not wanting to let go of his hand, sitting close to him, he lifted his left hand to fondle the tips of his fingers, extremely pleased. A light breeze blew through the leaves outside the window, rustling the scent of cinnamon in the quiet space. Miss Thuc Chau slowly spoke, wife. I softly hummed, still lowering my head. Miss Thuc Chau silently smiled. He slowly spoke, wife, working hard to take care of Thuc Chau's family. I can't help much, but there's only one thing, if the capital isn't enough, I still have some money here that I can use. Husband, I was extremely touched. I hugged his hand and pressed it against my cheek, rubbing it back and forth. Why are you so good to me? Why are you so good to Alu? Miss Thuc Chau slightly curved the corner of her lips, her expression full of restraint. Rubbing her cheek, I seriously said, I just don't need the smile on Miss Thuc Chau's face to fade a bit. Why? Your trust, then you keep it and use it. You have already lived in my house, supporting the family and earning money is my business, although my family is poor. But the etiquette between us still needs to be more clear. I looked at him with a serious expression as the head of the family but remembered my husband's private money. If this matter were to spread out, wouldn't it make others look down on me? The person opposite softened. Let's do it secretly, don't let others know about this. I shook my head and said to myself, I know in my heart I already feel very sorry for my wife. All this hard work is to raise me. Gu Thuc Chau lowered her long eyelashes and looked very sad. So how could Wei Fu feel at ease in her heart that her husband loves me? I all know that Alu always remembers your good things and can't bear to see the beauty's sad face. I quickly comforted him. I actually don't have to work hard. On normal days I just go to school. The shop has Mulan and Ono Ni. They are very capable, and are very tolerant of me. I don't need it. Is there really anything to worry about? Gu Thuc Chau raised her hand and gently touched my eyes. Wei Fu didn't mean anything petty. But since I came to live here, in just a short dozen days, she had been bullied to the point of crying by those girls twice. Husband misunderstood and saw that the two of them were about to have a dangerous quarrel. I quickly explained that it wasn't bullying, we were just joking around inside. I continued, husband, you don't know that. Mulan and Ono Ni have grown up together since we were little. Since we were in elementary school, you forgot about it. At that time at school, everyone saw that I was young and bullied me because I didn't have a mother and often avoided me. It was all Mulan and Ono Ni who protected me. One person beat me, the other scolded them, so the others didn't dare to tease me anymore. Gu Suzhou gently stroked my cheek. After a while he softly said, "Why are you so pitiful?" I softly hummed and nodded, so husband, don't misunderstand them. Ono Ni and Mulan very much love me, I also love them very much. We are good. Nose is very very good. After hearing these words, the person opposite revealed a light smile. If that's the case, he nodded slightly, his tone was gentle, coaxing like a child. This husband will not speak ill of them in the future. Okay, I was extremely happy and nodded with all my might. Yes, yes. Gu Suzhou's smile became even more mischievous. He grabbed my hand and moved closer. His beautiful fox eyes flashed with gentleness, making me momentarily absent-minded. Just wife called me. His voice carried a hint of worry. She goes to school every day and doesn't let me go to the shop to help. Then Miss Ono Ni and Miss Mulan won't be angry with her, but I was so charmed by him that my soul flew away. Hearing this, I didn't need to think and immediately replied, no, me and Mulan Ono Ni, we don't need to distinguish between clean and good like that. As soon as the words fell, the big hand that was holding my hand gently moved closer. Gu Suzhou looked at me attentively and softly said a sentence. So that's it. He still smiled, but I felt something was different. Just let it be, and shook my head. I couldn't help but hug his arm into my chest and rub my face against my husband. Husband Alu really liked him, choosing back and forth, turning over the entire family calendar. Finally, Father Ono Ni also chose the opening day on October 3rd. A good day to open, welcoming fortune into the house. Waiting for more than 10 days, I never expected that school wouldn't be off that day. I really didn't want to miss this important day. The night before I pretended to be sick, but unexpectedly Father saw through it immediately and begged for a long time. In the end he agreed to promise to go to school at roll call to ask for permission for me to take a day off. I was so happy that my eyes couldn't see my teeth while cooking rice. I kept clinging to him while handing him the basket of vegetables when carrying the jar of salt the second day. I also woke up very early wearing the new clothes that Ono Ni made for me before leaving. I followed the custom to visit my late ancestor. He was awake but still not. I got out of bed and was reading a book by myself. I walked over to his side, intending to startle him, but he seemed to have expected it and turned his head. His handsome face made me slightly confused. He carefully looked at me and suddenly asked why she wasn't wearing the new clothes I bought. I smiled and said, "Let's wear Ono Ni's tomorrow first. We already made an appointment. Today we'll both wear this muddy yellow outfit. Tomorrow I'll wear the one you bought. There are too many new clothes these days. I can't wear it. The day before yesterday, I just received Ono Ni's set. Yesterday, Miss Thuc Chau used her own money to ask my father to take me out to buy 2 expensive sets. I originally didn't want to accept it, but he said it was the heart of a husband. Thuc Chau was not good at sewing. If my wife didn't wear the clothes I bought, someone else would definitely look down on me. He said this, I couldn't help but accept it. It was too late. I reached out and gently stroked the jet black hair of the person in front of me. I reluctantly said, "Husband, be good and wait at home. I'll be back soon. If business goes well." Miss Thuc Chau's big hand gently rubbed my back. Her tone was certain that business would definitely be very good. I asked curiously, "Why don't you know?" Miss Thuc Chau replied, "I just knew. I just took it as a congratulation. I didn't pay much attention to it. I was in a good mood and left the house. I put on a shopping bag and leisurely walked towards the shop 3 streets away. When we arrived, Moklan and Ono Ni also came, talking and laughing, opening the shop. We had just finished setting up the tables and chairs. The newly made signboard hadn't even had time to hang it up yet when a group of people rushed in. The person in the lead was wearing a light blue rectal shirt and a square scarf, looking like a bookseller with a full belly. Strawberry mustache shaking, holding out his left hand full of rings. He touched one finger. The shop owner gave me 8 bowls of orange-scented nectar. The tall martial arts practitioner walked right behind him and said, "I only need 3 bowls of cold pear juice." The shop owner added 1 more bowl of fragrant milk tea. "I want 5 bowls of sugar-scented water." The crowd grew more And more, the shop was packed with people. Oh no, Ni's hand scooped water until it hurt the most. I carried the bowl and ran to collect the money without stopping behind me. I rolled up my sleeves but still couldn't wash all the dirty dishes in time. 2 hours later, in the shop there was only a row of empty pots and barrels. The three of us stood at the door, looking at each other, stopping being mean to the customers who couldn't buy sweet drinks. It's all gone, it's really all gone. The person behind us looked extremely dissatisfied. How could it be like this, doing business without preparing enough goods? Oh no, Ni and I explained at the top of our lungs, promising to prepare more goods tomorrow to see everyone off. The shop had only been open for half a day and had to close. We had a quick lunch. Oh no, Ni hugged the money jar tightly and encouraged me to go into the accounting room behind. My calculating ability was really bad. Counting the bamboo cards was given to Oh no, Ni. The counting sticks flowed out and she took out her calculation, muttering to herself, drinks cost 3 coins for 1 bowl, 138 bowls of sweets cost 5 coins for 1 bowl, 97 bowls of fragrant milk tea cost 6 coins for 1 bowl, 83 bowls sold today, totaled 1,397 coins minus expenses minus trade tax. Today we have a net of 1,169 coins. 1,169 coins. Me and One Lon were stunned by this number and looked at Oh no, Ni in amazement. So much money, did we really earn it? Oh no, Ni lightly entered the boredom of each person because of laughing. Why is it so happy that you're stupid? After saying that, she showed regret that she didn't expect business to be so good. What a pity, preparing too few goods. It's okay, this afternoon I will prepare more goods. Magnolia hugged her shoulder, comforting her mood. Just calm down. If business is good, we'll be happy. If it's not good, don't be sad. You still have to be told by people. Oh no, Ni, glancing at her sideways. I know, because this is the first time I've earned money. The three of us really couldn't hold back. After leaving the money to buy goods, Lean divided the remaining money equally, only thinking of bringing it home for our parents to look at us with different eyes. After packing the money, tightly tying the small bag, Oh no, Ni helped me put the hawker bag on my shoulder, smiling and saying, leave the import of goods to cook soup to me and Magnolia. You don't need to do anything else. Go out. My mind was full of bragging. I didn't think much. Lean happily walked happily back home. I called my husband and ran upstairs. The floor excitedly pushed the door open to see. Inside there was a stranger sitting, but he looked very familiar. Staring at him, thinking about it again and again, my eyes lit up. It was you. Seeing me, Mr. Chau didn't seem surprised, just smiled gently. Alu is back. Ha, I nodded, walked to his side, curiously asked a question. Husband, do you know this person? Why didn't Mr. Chau reply? Took out a handkerchief. He carefully wiped the sweat on my forehead, and then asked why Alu also knew this person. I nodded and raised my hand to make an 8 sign. My face was full of surprise. This old man had just opened the door and bought 8 bowls of sweets. The young lady had a good memory. The old man smiled kindly and looked at me. This old man who loves sweets just happened to see a newly opened shop. How could he not stop by and enjoy a few bowls? I didn't expect to meet this young lady here. It was truly fate. I understood. So that's how it was. Only then did Miss Su Zhao speak up. Alu, this is Mr. Kong, a book merchant from Luojing. I nodded and didn't think much more. I turned to rummage through my pocket for a paper package of jujubes soaked in honey that I bought along the way. I opened it and hurriedly fed him one. Was it delicious? I looked at Miss Su Zhao excitedly and smiled, nodding. It was so sweet. What a coincidence. Today I just wanted to eat the apples that Alu had brought back. I was extremely pleased. I also rewarded myself with one. Remembering that there were guests in the house, I held the oil paper package and handed it to the old man and politely asked, do you want some? The words that I just received, Miss Su Zhao said. He doesn't eat it. Mr. Kong just got up from his chair and heard that, then quietly sat down. Miss Su Zhao pointed at the stack of brand new papers on Mr. Sun's table and told him that if Mr. Kong was busy, he could go ahead. The draft was already reviewed by Mr. Su Zhao. He was very satisfied, so just print it out. Yes, I was busy collecting the papers on the table. He hurriedly walked out but was called back by Miss Su Zhao. The house was waiting for the rice to cook. Please don't forget to bring the royalties. Yes, the royalties. Mr. Kong kept nodding and replied that when I get back, I will immediately have someone bring it. The door closed and in the room only he and I were left. He hurriedly hugged Miss Su Zhao's arm, his face full of tears. Excitedly looking at him, asking what draft, Fu Jun? Could it be that he is the book writer that people are talking about? Miss Su Zhao nodded slightly, her expression still calm. Yes, Alu likes to read scripts. I tried my best to nod my head and said like her. What kind of scripts does Alu like to read? I like to read strange scripts. Miss Su Zhao couldn't help but smile. Then in the future Vai Fu will write strange scripts. I held his hand, smiling and embarrassed, calling Fu Jun to take out a small bag from the hawker's bag. I looked at him shyly and stammered, saying that today I earned some money, pouring the coins on the table. I carefully divided them into 2 piles and pointed at one pile and said, "This is for Fu Jun," then pointed at the other pile. "This is for my father." Miss Su Zhao looked at me deeply. "All for us?" "Yes, all for the 2 of us. So what about Alu? I don't need it." "Why?" He absent-mindedly looked at the pile of money. "Why didn't he keep any for himself?" I blinked, seriously saying, "Because I am the head of the family, Fu Jun. I earn money as to raise him and his father." Su Zhao looked at me intently for a long time. He sighed softly. "Alu stupid." He gently stroked my cheek. "How should I repay her?" But my talisman tilted his head, hesitantly said, "I did these things not for him to repay me." Su Zhao slightly stunned. My eyes smiled brightly looking at him. "Father said, liking someone is to tell them, make them see that when they know they are truly loved, they will be very happy." So Fu Jun, do you feel very happy now? Miss Su Zhao slowly leaned down, gently leaned on my shoulder and whispered, "I am very happy, but Fu Jun, Alu, I have never been so happy." I am satisfied. Hugging him tightly. "That is enough, Fu Jun, just need to remember. Alu really likes you." A big hand from behind hugging me. "So Alu must also remember that this husband is also very likes Alu." The days passed peacefully. I still woke up early every day to go to school. On holidays I went to the shop to help. Other times I always stayed at home with Miss Su Zhao and didn't go anywhere. I always felt that he was lonely. I couldn't help but want to be with him more. I have talked a lot since I was little. My father often said I was like a sparrow chirping non-stop, but Miss Su Zhao, he never said a word. He always listened attentively to me. I told him the yellow apricot blossoms in the school. He will ask what color it is. I told. On the way back met a little dog. He will ask the dog if it followed me home. He always looked at me with gentle eyes, quietly listened to me talk, but looking at those beautiful eyes my heart was cool and sad. Fu Quan I lifted his face up and said seriously, "Don't just listen to me, I also want to listen to you tell." Miss Thuc Chau gently smiled hesitantly, wanting to hear anything. "Anything is fine." I looked at him. Whether it was happy or sad, I would listen sincerely, just like you used to listen to me. So Miss Thuc Chau hugged me and told me about his past stories. My husband grew up in a wealthy family of lack kin since childhood. My father only had one wife. Mother in the house had 2 brothers. Thuc Chau was the second. When he was young, naughty, often causing trouble. Father was extremely strict with me. Mother liked to be vegetarian. Buddha was not very close to me at that time. Miss Thuc Chau had a stubborn personality no one loved. Usually 10 days, half a month, only got to see his parents once at the age of 6. Mother, the youngest brother who was born to him, was visited by everyone, but he was not convinced, so he secretly escaped to his mother's courtyard. But standing at the door, he saw his cold mother bending over his younger brother's cradle, gently singing a lullaby. He went to find his father, and saw his father, who had always been strict with him, carefully teaching his older brother to write. That day I found out it's not that they don't love their child, it's just that the child they love is not me. But what should I do? I still really wanted my mother to love me, so I tried to be obedient and diligent in studying and practicing martial arts, but my mother hated me even more. Later I found out I wasn't the biological child of my birth mother. She died right after giving birth to me. Ko Thuc Chau looked out the window. His voice was very soft, very soft. Alu and I were the same. We were both children without a mother. I stared at him, my heart heavy with the word husband. I called him once, just that once. My mother's throat felt as if there was a sharp stone, tearing pain to the point of speechlessness. Tears can't help but fall. I purse my lips, sobbing, "Don't cry, don't cry." Gu Su Zhao gently wipes my tears for me, softens her voice and says clearly, "Alu, don't cry. It's all because my husband isn't good enough to make you sad, right?" I shake my head with all my might, choking up looking at him. "I only think I have a father, I have Mulan, I have Ono Ni, I have many people who love me by my side, but my husband, there's nothing. He's never been truly loved by anyone." Just like that he grew up alone. Hot tears flowed out of his nose. My heart aches so much that my voice choked up. I don't want to have nothing. When I'm happy I'm alone. When I'm sad I'm alone. I don't want to be lonely husband. I gasp for breath. My heart aches so much that Alu, about to change Gu Su Zhao's face, she quickly reached out to gently rub my back to help me breathe easier. I look at him with tear-stained eyes. "Husband, my heart aches for nothing." Gu Su Zhao was stunned for a long time. Then he whispered, whispering, being loved is this feeling. The corners of his eyes have turned a light pink. I sadly caressed his face. Tears rolled down again. Husband, father has sung me many songs. I remember them all. From now on I will sing for him. I took a deep breath, seriously sang the song of the bronze carriage, the song of the forge iron, the song of the forge iron. The two sisters kept me here to rest. I didn't rest the rest. My throat was choked up, and I couldn't continue singing. I choked. My heart was half and half sad for the things I didn't have when I was young. No matter how hard I tried to make up for them when I grew up, it was useless. Just like father sang me many songs, but they weren't the songs that mother used to sing. And Miss Thuc Chau, in the moments of missing her mother so much, in the moments of seeing others being loved, in so many days of being alone in his heart, must have been so painful. The more I thought, the more my heart ached. Tears welled up in the end. I couldn't hold back anymore. I looked at him, tears bursting out loud. A big hand reached out from behind. Thuc Chau gently rubbed my head and hugged me tightly. Don't cry anymore. Don't cry anymore. He gently patted my back, intending to comfort me that in the future we won't mention these sad things anymore. Tears were patiently wiped from the top of my head. A sigh opened softly. Alu cried. My heart also ached. In November, the weather was getting colder and colder in winter. Father Hao Fong bought 2 kilos of goat meat along with dried and fresh vegetables, cooked for me and Thuc Chau a big pot of goat meat hot pot. After eating it, he suddenly took out from his sleeve a rolled up piece of paper. Everything that needed to be eaten had been eaten, and then he laughed coldly. He said anything that needed to be beaten had to be beaten. In my heart immediately a bad feeling rose in my heart as expected. What father brought back was the math test paper that I had hidden under the cushion. Really pissed this old man off. Usually told me to eat more rice, but I didn't listen. Jayap at bin din. But I got the worst grade in the exam. He conveniently grabbed the feather duster on the cabinet. I immediately ran out the door on all fours. My father chased after me into the yard while chasing and scolding. Today I must definitely give you, that lazy dog, a good beating. Even if I hold a chicken and put it on the exam paper to peck at it, it still won't be able to pass the exam. The fast-witted saw Miss Su also coming out. I hurriedly hugged my head and hid behind him. But even so, I still didn't forget to argue stubbornly. Dragons give birth to dragons, phoenixes give birth to phoenixes. The little mouse who knows how to dig up. My father's math is not very good. You did poorly on the exam because of your father's genes. If you dare say another word. My father was furious, his face turned purple. He grabbed the feather duster and chased me around the pillars in the yard. A fight of chickens and dogs. I screamed and crawled into Miss Sua's arms. He immediately hugged me tightly, stopping my father from beating him. My father was so angry that his legs were full of fury, but he couldn't do anything to me. Suddenly he threw the feather duster down and said, "Ah wah wah," sat down on the ground. I was also very filial, without any doubt. I immediately fell for his trick, broke free from the arms of Miss Thuc Chau. I hurriedly ran to my father. My heart was in panic. Father, what's wrong with you? Next my hand was pinched hard by someone. Father laughed proudly, running away, dodging. Let's see if I can cure you. I resented and tricked my child. In the end I still got a bite on my hand. After washing the pots and pans, father went to Uncle Lee's house next door to play cards. Miss Thuc Chau grabbed my hand, wanting to apply medicine to me. I smiled and looked at him. It didn't hurt at all. Father, you didn't use any strength at all. Look at this, your skin hasn't even melted yet. And this time being beaten wasn't unjust. These days I took Miss Thuc Chau to all the big and small alleys of Fuan Khan. Together with him I played shuttlecock, dropped axes, went to see festivals. Almost all the fun things I could think of had been played. I had fun forgetting the world. My studies were inevitably delayed. This time I got the top grade in the math exam and was beaten. It was well deserved. Miss Thuc Chau didn't say anything. What? He fed me a piece of candy. His fingertips gently rubbed my palm. I lowered my head and blew lightly on the red spot. Thinking for a moment, I took a piece of candy from the cake box beside me, also fed it to him. The lady of the matcha gently rubbed it. I pitifully said, "My wife has suffered a grievance." This is him pitying me. I still took down the gold necklace he gave me, carefully placed it on the table. A trace of hurt flashed through her eyes. I gently held his hand seriously, explaining, "Husband, I really like the necklace I gave you, but this silver necklace was given to me by my father. I have worn it since I was very young." I pointed to the pendants on my chest one by one, and told him this longevity lock was made for me by my mother when she was pregnant to pray for my safety. This pendant was made for me by Lon using money because my name is Alu. This dog was made for me by Ono Ni. These pendants along with the necklace were given to me by the people who love me because wearing the new one and getting rid of the old one, they will be sad when they see it. Husband, I don't want to do Things that make people sad. I want to do things that make people happy, only then can I be happy. So what about me? Miss Thuc Chau looked at me intently. Alu made me sad. What should I do? How can I bear to make my husband sad? I laughed and looked at him. Returning the gold necklace. Husband also made me a silver pendant. It's good to make it in the shape of your zodiac sign. That's right, your zodiac sign. What is a soldier? I am a tiger-year-old man. I nodded happily and said, then I will be a little tiger with a round head. It will definitely look very cute. After saying that, I felt something was wrong. Husband, I opened my eyes wide and looked at her. He is actually 8 years older than me. Her fingers trembled slightly. He sighed, his expression somewhat disappointed and sad, saying, I am old, are you? I answered honestly. A little bit. She lowered her eyes and said nothing more. She looked really pitiful. I turned my head and smiled to coax him. Husband, don't be sad. I haven't finished speaking yet. If it were you, even if I were 18 years older, it would be fine. Lou, I still like you. She sighed again and said softly, I am actually much older than you. What's the big deal? Seeing him really sad, I puffed up my cheeks and lifted his cheeks. Husband, don't be sad. I'm only 8 years old. Later, when I go to the temple, I will pray for my husband to live a long life. 108 years old. She finally looked up at me. What is it? 108 years old because I want to live 100 years old. I can't help but laugh looking straight into his eyes. Everyone's age is different. If I wish everyone to live 100 years old, they will definitely leave before you like that. I will be very, very heartbroken, but if you leave first, everyone will also be very heartbroken, so it's better for everyone to leave together like this. No one of us will have to be heartbroken while counting on our fingers later. I just told in detail the things I will wish for in front of Bodhisattva. Alu, live 100 years. Husband, live 108 years. Father, live 124 years. Ononenichai Magnolia, live 102 years. Human life is 100 years. Just thinking about this long time being able to spend with the person I love makes me extremely happy. Husband, we will be together for a very, very long time. The candy in my mouth almost melted to the tip of my tongue. Still has a sweet aftertaste. I smiled until my eyes curved. It's only 8 years. What's that worth? Alu. Miss Thuc Chau gently called me. Her eyes were filled with emotion looking at the beauty under the light. The more she looked, the more she saw. Suddenly I really wanted to kiss him, so I raised my head and looked at Miss Thuc Chau and asked seriously, my husband really wants to kiss you. Can I kiss you without restraint? Miss Thuc Chau blushed. He sat there, not saying anything, slowly closing his beautiful eyes. I stood up from the chair and looked at that red streak in the house. I leaned over and our lips gently touched each other. My whole body felt lightheaded as if all my bones had been pulled out. I stood there, my whole body went limp. The surrounding scenery became dizzy and my mind was hazy. I could only remember the soft feeling of the lips of the person in front of me. At that moment, Miss Thuc Chau opened her eyes. His eyes were filled with tears. The corners of his lips slightly curved up and he made a beeping sound. A stream of blood rushed straight up to my clothes. My face instantly became hot and I felt like I was in love. Oh no, I kissed my husband. My mind was dizzy. My hands and feet fumbled as I walked around the room. I staggered towards Miss Thuc Chau's husband. Her lips were sweet and licked. I looked at him foolishly. Can I just do it again? Miss Thuc Chau was embarrassed to please me, so I lightly pecked his lips again. He was still not satisfied. I continued to say the same thing as before. Husband, can you do it one more time? Miss Thuc Chau didn't say anything. Her face became even redder once more. Husband, the last time, one more time. Husband. December, Suzhou had a small snowfall. The weather was even more humid and cold. The children on the street were wrapped into balls by their parents, holding sugar candy in their hands, running around and playing carefreely. The sweet drinks in the store were all changed to boiled water. I still went to school. The days were still the same as usual, quietly passing by the door, but near the Lunar New Year, Ono-ni got sick. As soon as I got home from school and heard the news, I hurriedly wanted to run to her house, but was stopped by Mr. Huang, who raised his hand to stop me. The teacher looked at me kindly, but his smile seemed reluctant. Let's go to Alu in 2 days. Ono-ni and her mother are both sick. You're still young, don't get sick. I obediently said nothing and turned to look for Mulan. But when I got to Mulan's house, I received the same answer. I had no choice but to return home dejectedly, worrying about Mulan and Ono-ni for several days. I couldn't eat well or sleep well. Even the stewed black chicken soup that father had eaten was strangely not delicious. Father was surprised and exclaimed that the sun had risen in the west and the greedy dog had stopped eating. I frowned and frowned. So sad, so sad. Miss Thuc Chau looked at me funny and helped me smooth out the wrinkles between my eyebrows. What is Alu worried about, husband? I sighed and said I was worried that I wouldn't be able to see Mulan and Ono Ni. Don't be in a hurry. Miss Su Zhao patiently comforted me that my illness probably hasn't completely healed yet. Wait. For the two of them to get better, Alu will meet them, that's what I said. But there was always something in my heart that was not at ease. I really couldn't wait any longer. On the second day off, I ran to Ono Ni's house this time. No matter what Ono Ni's father said, I refused to go. I had to see her before I could stop. He had no choice but to agree to let me go into Ono Ni's room. The window was not open. It was a bit dark in the forest. A thin figure lay there. I hurriedly walked over and took a look. My tears fell down. Ono Ni sat down in front of the forest. I held her skinny hand. My heart ached. Why are you like this, Ono Ni? What's wrong with you? Why are you so sick in the forest? Ono Ni was so skinny that her bones were staring blankly into the forest when she heard my voice. She stiffly turned her head back. Her hair was disheveled. Her lips were pale. My Ono Ni, why did she become like this? My heart was in so much pain. I touched her face and kept calling, Ono Ni, Ono Ni. Ono Ni stopped looking at me viciously for a while, then suddenly said, Alu. She raised one hand. As if she had just realized I also touched my face. Alu, why did you grow up so fast yesterday? I just told mother to make you a new tonic. I shivered so much I couldn't look but trembled. Her memory stopped at the year I first entered elementary school. That year I was 3 years old. The tonic in school was so hard I couldn't sit. Still, Ono Ni loved me. When I got home she told me her mother sewed me a soft Ono Ni. Ono Ni, I cried loudly. Tears fell on the back of her hand. What's wrong? You don't scare me. Hearing my cry, Ono Ni slowly woke up and recognized me. The first thing she said was, I'm about to die. Alu, I can't live anymore. I cried even louder. Said, you're sick. Obediently take the medicine. The illness will be cured soon. It won't be cured. Ono Ni indifferently looked at the house's legs, showing her eyes. A tear fell. Alu, I will never be cured again. A few days ago, a matchmaker came to talk about my marriage. My parents were very satisfied, but Alu, I'm not satisfied. I don't like it. I don't want to marry. I went to my mother, bowed down in front of her and told her, I already have someone I like. I told her, the person I like is Mulan. Said. She turned her head to look at me. Tears fell down. Alu, I like Mulan. I love Mulan. Is not the kind of liking and loving like towards someone you want. Marry her, become her wife. All my life I only want to be with her. Mulan, her heart is just like mine. I foolishly looked at her. Ono Ni bitterly laughed. A bit in my eyes flashed a bit of sadness. You feel we are causing trouble, right? Don't blame you. Even my mother saw us causing trouble, but Alu, I can't control my heart in my Art already has Mulan, then can't hold anyone else. In my heart already has me. Mulan also can't love anyone else. Just consider us shameless. Alu, me and Mulan, we only want to be each other's wives. Her eyes were broken and desperate like that. Have tasted all the suffering in the world. Hearing the will to die in her words, my heart ached. Tightly grabbed my hand, suddenly stood up. Just because of this matter you tortured yourself into this devilish state. Just because of this matter, not knowing how to cherish your body like this. I quickly wiped away a tear and said, Huang Ono Ni, you are really a useless thing. Ono Ni looked at me surprised. I gritted my teeth and hugged her gently. Leaning into her arms, I firmly said, you like her, I will bring her to you. After I finished speaking, I turned around and ran out without looking back. The call of Ono Ni behind me was no longer heard on the way. I just ran towards Mulan's house. When I got there, I didn't look for Mulan but went to look for Mulan's mother. Mulan's mother was sitting right in the living room. I ran over. With a thud, I bowed down in front of Aunt Guiyuan. Alu begged her to marry Mulan to Ono Ni. Mulan's mother was startled and saw that it was me. She reached out to help me up, but I refused. She bowed down again, saying that after a long time, she really had no way to deal with me. She sighed, her eyes complicated, saying, Alu, you're still young. You don't understand anything. Aunt Guiyuan firmly looked at her. She wasn't young anymore. You already had a family. You're still young. You really don't know much, but you know that Ono Ni likes Mulan, really likes her. Mulan likes Ono Ni, really likes her. Really likes sniffing. I want to cry again, Miss Guiyuan. I can't bear to let Mulan and Ono Ni be sad. You can't bear it either, right? When we were young, you took us to the theater and always hated lovers who couldn't become a couple. Now it's Mulan and Ono Ni's turn. Why can't they be together? I pulled on her sleeve and refused to give up, demanding an answer. She looked at me deeply. After a long while, she let out a sigh. The idiot didn't know if she was talking about me or Mulan and Ono Ni. Finally, she agreed. Mulan's mother turned around and said in a low voice, I won't stop her anymore. But her parents only have one daughter. How can they agree? If it doesn't work out, then go home and don't ruin their relationship. I nodded with all my might. staggering to my feet and running to Mulan's room. I hadn't seen her for a few days. She had lost a lot of weight. The two of them had already endured so much suffering. I held her in pain and cried loudly. "Alu, don't cry." Mulan silently stroked my head. All I know, I nodded. Mulan didn't say anything anymore. She was already less talkative after going through this. She became even more silent. I wiped my tears and pulled her hand to go outside. I led people to see Ono ni. Mulan was stunned and was pulled by me to go through the living room. She looked inside with tears in her eyes. Mulan's mother sat on the round chair, just pretended not to see. Not stopping at all, Mulan firmly followed me once more to Ono ni's house. Mulan and I didn't go to see Ono ni but begged her father to let us see Ono ni's mother. Ono ni's father looked at Mulan with complicated eyes, not knowing what to say. After a long while, he still let us in. Ono ni's mother was really sick. She leaned against the headboard. Her face was weak and completely lost the plumpness she had before. When she saw me, she paused for a moment, just about to ask. She saw Mulan following behind me. Ono ni's mother closed her eyes and turned her back to me. We lay down with a thud. This time both Mulan and I knelt down on both knees and slowly moved to the edge of the bed. I blinked. She held back the tears that were about to fall. "Miss Mai Hung." I put my hand on her body and said without stopping, "Miss Mai Hung, can you give Ono ni to Mulan?" Alu begged her. "Please let them be together." Begged her Miss Mai Hung. Miss Mai Hung's face turned to the wall. Motionless, I leaned closer, lying beside her hand, crying. Suddenly, behind me came a heavy banging sound. 1 bang, 2 bangs, 3 bangs. I turned around, seeing that Mulan was already bleeding. She knelt down with her back straight. Her eyes were extremely determined and strong. Miss Mai Hung Mulan's eyes were red. She raised her hand and solemnly swore. Mulan swears in this life she will treat Ono ni well. In this life she will only listen to her, love her and be by her side. Absolutely will not let her suffer any grievances. "Miss Mai Hung, please stop for me and Ono ni." Miss Mai Hung was suffocated to sit up. Her face was already full of tears. Han Shui lowered his head and saw me crying until tears and snot ran down my face. Dirty, she took out a handkerchief from under the pillow without much hesitation to wipe my face. This stubborn dog threw the handkerchief on the ground. Her voice was also shy. "You are just a child. What do you know? But if this matter spreads out, what will people think? I say it, you don't care. I just want Ono ni to be happy. What do outsiders think? I don't care. I only know Ono ni likes Moklan. She only needs Moklan to be with Moklan. She will be happy." Miss Mai Hung, I want Ono ni to be happy. I don't want Ono ni to be sad. That's my guts breaking. Do I want her to be sad? Miss Mai Hung quickly wiped her tears. Yes, turning off the onion for them now is happy. But what about later, when they die? If there is no child by their side, who will take care of them then? Who said they won't have children? I raised my hand and gently wiped her tears. My own tears fell on Miss Mai Hung. "When you grow up, I will definitely give birth to one." The daughter at that time called Ono ni and Moklan also her mother. So they had a child. Miss Mai Hung looked at me stupid. She suddenly hugged her chest tightly and cried. I stupid looked at her firmly. Seriously, said Miss Mai Hung, Moklan and Ono ni will definitely love her very much. Just like when she was little, she loved her child without a mother. Every time she saw her child's clothes torn, she was both sad and shed tears while carefully sewing them for her child. When it rained, she would bring food to her child. When it snowed, she would secretly stuff cotton in her child's clothes. She said she missed her mother. She would always hold her child, coax her child to sleep. Miss Mai Hung Alu knew her heart was very soft. Very soft. Ono ni and Moklan's hearts were also as soft as hers. Alu Ono ni outside the door could not hear anymore. Miss Lu hugged her weak body and leaned against the door, crying without making a sound. Why are you so stupid? Why are you so stupid? She said. She moved to the bed and also covered her voice. A ghost fell down. Mother Ono ni turned her face away and did not look at her. She felt sorry and raised her mother's hand. Ono ni's tears ran down her mother's face. Why have you lost so much weight? It's not good for Ono ni. Ono ni shouldn't be angry with her. Aunt Mai Hung sobbed, not lying still. What are you doing now? Ono ni shook her head. Mother Alu, the ghost came down to beg for you. Even if it's to not disappoint her kindness, you should stand up and fight for yourself. Mother, I only need Mulan. Ono ni, I only need Mulan who loves me and helps me. Aunt Mai Hung looked at her haggard face and finally couldn't help but burst into tears. Her injustice hugged Ono ni tightly. Crying and wailing was truly the karma of a previous life. In this life she had just come to be my mother and daughter. Forget it, I don't care anymore. My eyes lit up as I looked at Mulan, feeling pity for them and happy for them. I cried and laughed for a long time, seeing the two of them being fulfilled. I finally couldn't help but feel happy and happy forever. I felt something was wrong and fell to the ground crying and wailing. Okay, you two dogs, you dare to sneak up on me. Have we been good for so long? Oh no, Ni and Moklan coaxed me for a long time before I reluctantly forgave the two of you. A few days later our shop reopened. It's just that recently I don't know what happened. The people on the street are always making a ruckus. As soon as I got home, my father told me not to run around. Why? I was stupid enough to ask my father. He hesitantly glanced upstairs, wanting to say something but then stopped. He gritted his teeth and said, "It's almost New Year's Eve because of the Yen King. Suzhou hasn't been peaceful lately." My father pitied me and patted my head and said something that made no sense. The puppy ran around. It was taken away. I pretended to cry but there was no place to cry. Really, father? I laughed and rubbed his shoulder, then I deliberately hid so that father couldn't find me, waited until father cried like that. Then I would secretly come out, scared father to death. Father raised his hand and cried on my head. A naughty dog, deserved to be beaten. I snorted, hugged my head and ran upstairs to find Miss Su Zhao. Acting spoiled as husband, happily pushed the door open. I threw myself into that person's arms, reluctantly said husband, took him back. Then a warm hand caressed my cheek. Miss Su Zhao's voice carried a smile next to my hand. Mr. Kong was still here, my face was burning. I quickly retreated from his arms and looked up. In the room there was indeed still a person sitting. Mr. Kong was still wearing a straight shirt and a square turban. His hands were full of rings, still had the appearance of a book dealer. Saw me. He smiled slightly. We met again. I looked at him shyly. Mr. Kong was healthy. Miss Su Zhao seemed not to want to say much. He pointed to the table on the table, in short, called the draft table. I have already read it all. There is no what problem please say for printing. Mr. Kong nodded in agreement finally. He carefully asked again, please ask Mr. Thuc Chau. When will printing please? The customer in Lac Kin has been waiting for a long time already. Hurriedly Miss Thuc Chau silently stared at the paper plant, then he turned his head. His eyes slowly fell on the person. In his eyes appeared no more car teeth. After a long while he softly said, tomorrow go Mr. Kong. Go then. When go? He hugged a table with complicated eyes, glanced at me. My heart was filled with joy because Miss Thuc Chau published a book again. Husband held his hand. I was curious to death, asked what story he wrote this time. Miss Thuc Chau did not answer that question. He sat on the chair, stretched out his hand towards me with a weak expression, begging, Alu, come here and hug me, okay? He looked so lonely, and what I didn't want to see the most was his loneliness, so I took a step forward. Without hesitation reached out my hand. Miss Thuc Chau buried her head in my neck, panting. Still not enough. He reached out to hug me tightly in his arms. The force was so strong that it seemed like he wanted to melt me into his body. My face pressed against his chest. I looked at him worriedly. Husband, what's wrong with you? Miss Thuc Chau closed her eyes, lowered her head, used her lips and nose to rub against my cheek. Her pleasant voice kept calling my name. Lu, Alu, Alu. My face was red from his calling. Shyly called out husband. I couldn't look and withdrew deep into his embrace. Miss Thuc Chau hugged. I tightened even more. After a long time, he finally opened those wet eyes. His cheek pressed against my forehead. Su Zhao looked out the window and said softly, let me tell you a story, my husband. The official's robe, Yuan Shi, is also the skin-filled copper-stinking person born with a green eye. The path of the muddy water is hidden in the Dharma image. Heavenly thunder appears inside the portrait. These 4 lines are the ancient's golden toad's evil words. The word corruption is a poison that corrodes to the bone marrow. Heaven says that demons are hard to escape from heavenly punishment. Mortals with greed are no different from demons. The selection is not yet nurtured. In the muddy water, the mirror shines on the sky and reflects on the OC. The heart also said that in the years of the great Yin dynasty, in the land of Shu, there was a judge named Zhou Tong. His skin was as wide as a bucket, and his eyes were as big as bells. This person had been in office for less than 3 months. The lotus pond behind the county gate had already dried up more than half. A night watchman passed by in the middle of the night and heard a gurgling and choking sound coming from the pond, as if iron was boiling in thin mud. One day, the rich merchant Chun Bai Wan brought a gift to visit and saw Zhou Tong judge sitting upright on the earthenware table. 7 lotus-shaped cups were made of bronze. Green Jade Tran Bok Van was about to offer the silver check when he saw the water in the bowl boiling without wind, creating strings of copper coins that were growing easily on the green brick floor. Chu Thong Fan clapped his hands and laughed loudly. Now look, this is the treasure basin. Less than half a year ago, A strange thing happened in Thuc. The newly minted money opened and the new fortune-telling treasure turned into a lump of earth after the third watch. Money that passed through Chu Thongfan's hands, whether soaked in water or burned on fire, was brand new and shiny. Folklore said that Chu Di, a person in the Tanhong temple, learned a strange technique that could turn money into gold. That night, the moon was as full as a silver tray. Chu Thongfan chased away all the left and right, took off his official robe, revealing his true body as big as a mortar. His green eyes shot out a dark light. He opened his mouth and spat out a black belly that was originally a toad spirit. His belly was as big as a boat. The path was difficult and difficult. In the blue sky, the toad demon took over this place, using the moonlight to hide his evil spirit, and joined forces with a group of corrupt officials and merchants who embezzled the people's money. They relied on salt, tea, and irrigation to deceive the upper and lower classes. Occupying the pit, exploiting the people brutally, making the people miserable, asking for an official. Hearing this, I could not help but say indignantly, too profound. They were really too profound. Grabbing the hem of Miss Su Zhao's clothes, I looked at him expectantly. Their husbands must have been punished, right? Miss Su Zhao kissed me lightly on the eyes and continued to slowly tell the story of corrupt officials and merchants, loyal and righteous people who loved the people, suffering from grievances thousands of miles away, entering the capital. The high-ranking king knew about this, angrily said again that the emperor had a precious sword, a treasure given by the immortals, the Queen Mother of the West, specially for killing demons. The Taoist did not dare to immediately throw this sword to the ground and kill the evil toad. The precious sword came out of the jar, causing a streak of lightning from above the toad's head, only to see green smoke rising. The coins on the ground were all turned into mud. The toad's bulging belly burst into dust. The demon died. I should be happy, but I always feel that something is missing. What about the other bad guys? I hurriedly asked the other bad guys who did bad things, did they get retribution? Miss Su Zhiji smiled and said nothing. Tomorrow will continue. I hugged my neck. My voice carried a pleading husband. My husband, she said, tomorrow will continue. I kissed him lightly, but he continued tomorrow, pecked his lips. Tomorrow will continue. Husband tomorrow, unwillingly returned to my room. The next day off, I remembered the ending of the story. As soon as I opened my eyes, I ran upstairs to my room. She was nowhere to be seen, carrying a full stomach of prayers. To the store as soon as she arrived, Ono Ni told me a good news. Tomorrow we won't do business. Come to my house to drink. Her face rarely revealed a few parts of shyness, she said. Unable to write a marriage contract, my parents decided to hold a golden orchid ceremony for me and Magnolia. The two families held a banquet together, so it was considered a wedding. Magnolia rubbed my head, also gently said, don't forget to call the whole family to come early, okay? I was both happy and unhappy. My lips parted. I said sourly, the two of you are married. You definitely won't be close to me anymore then. I really felt a little wronged in my heart. Ono Ni and Maklan looked at each other, both helpless and amused by that person. Ono Ni sighed, pulled me between the two of them, and extended her hand to assure me, even if I and Maklan got married, we would still be Alu's best friends. When he was young, Maklan was our little darling. When he was old, Maklan and I would always be by Alu's side, never to be apart for the rest of our lives. Maklan also smiled at me. I looked at this person, looked at that person. My heart was filled with emotions. I hugged the arms of both of them. I had a face full of affection. I also would not leave Maklan and Oni. Alu wanted to be a good sister to Maklan and Oni for the rest of his life. As soon as the words fell, a group of soldiers carrying knives suddenly raised their hands. 2 days ago, when King Yan had just arrived in Shuzhou, someone had presented a petition and evidence, accusing the Shuzhou officials and merchants of colluding and exploiting the innocent people, taking advantage of salt to pay for irrigation to invade the country. These people must all be soldiers and officials who confiscated property. I stopped and listened, always feeling that these words were strangely familiar in my heart. As if I sensed something, I suddenly raised my head, looking towards the long street not far away. The bustling crowd of people sitting on high horseback were looking towards me from afar. Purple robes like the sunset, bright jade belts, curved collars, wide sleeves, thousands of clothes spread out, a strangely majestic official uniform, just a familiar face. The emperor has a precious sword. The words echoed in my head. I stood there in a daze, my face pale. It turned out, he was that precious sword. The sunset gradually fell. I walked on the setting sun and hurried home. On the way, everyone was talking excitedly about how King Yan had confiscated the property of the magistrate's office, and how he had beheaded a bunch of corrupt officials in the market. The color was as fresh as a stream flowing through the main road. The green stone slabs were red. I silently just kept walking forward. Near the gate I stopped. A familiar person stood at the gate. A woman wearing a purple official uniform that I had seen during the day, opened her arms wide towards me. His eyes were extremely gentle, but his voice carried a hint of pleading. "Wife, come to this husband." His eyes were red as he entered the door. I took a deep breath and saw my father sitting in front of the pomegranate tree in the yard. Quietly walking over and sitting down, I gently put my head in my father's arms, not saying anything. My father suddenly sang a song from my childhood to lull me to sleep. Pomegranate tree, red feather lamp, spring flowers bloom, welcoming the wind, little guest birds, tree branches dance, counting the red fruits. After singing, he sighed with pity. The pomegranate tree has grown up and has its own thoughts. I pursed my lips, choking up, "But father, I really like you." "Father knows." Father looked at the tall pomegranate tree. The wrinkles at the corners of his eyes were even more obvious. "I also liked my mother like that in the past." I blinked. "This tree has grown this tall." A large hand gently touched my head. The pomegranate tree has also become a young woman. I raised my head. "Each tree would call him father. Do whatever you want." Father bowed his head and looked at me with love and affection. Father only hopes that my little pomegranate tree will be happy all his life. My fingers lightly touched the little tiger pendant on my necklace. I put my head on Father's shoulder and my voice was very soft, very soft. "Father, the pomegranate tree also wants you to be happy." After a sleepless night, the sky was about to light up. I arrived at the long street, where someone was waiting for me, the pomegranate tree. Seeing me, the old lady couldn't help but hug me tightly. I thought she wouldn't come. My husband hugged him back, softly saying by his hand, "Luo came to say goodbye to him." Gu Suzhao's whole body trembled, as if hugging me even tighter, going to Luo Jing with me. Hade leaned down and pressed against my hand, almost begging, Luo, go to Luo Jing with me. "Okay? Husband," I pushed him away and shook my head seriously. "I will not leave Shuzhou Luo. Leaving Shuzhou is no longer a Luo. Luo Jing is very good, it's just that the food and drinks in other places the people of Shuzhou are really not used to eating." Gu Suzhao looked at me with red eyes. "So what should I do?" "Luo, what do you want me to do?" My husband held his hand. She suppressed the bitterness in her nose. Word by word she instructed to stay away from the allure. He had to take good care of himself. When he was hungry he remembered to eat. When it was cold he remembered to wear extra clothes. He had to go see a doctor. He couldn't do dangerous things. He couldn't let himself get too tired. He couldn't feel lonely. He couldn't let the person who loved him be heartbroken. The tips of her fingers couldn't help but tremble. He stared at me. Tuan Tu's face was full of sadness. The songs I sang for him, he had to remember her. Suppressing the pain in her heart, she said stubbornly, "In the future, if no one sings for you, you have to sing for yourself. You have to remember, in Shuzhou there is an allure. She really likes you. You have to remember you were loved sincerely by her." I stopped talking and blinked, forcing the small tears back. Take a step back and gently say, "I still have to go eat the wedding of Mulan and Ying." Ying second. Gu Suzhao did not say anything. Her eyes were gentle and desperate. "Husband, the last time I called him like that, I tried to smile, waved at him goodbye to you. After saying that, I turned and ran back the way I came, ran and ran. Finally I could not help but turn back, endured. That person was still standing still in the same place. I stood under the tall willow tree, waved at him with all my might. On my face also bloomed a bright smile, thanking him for being willing to play this family game with me. I will not forget him. After saying that I turned around again. This time I really will not turn back again, endured, standing on the long street, watching the silhouette of the young girl running away. On her neck she wore a silver necklace. The pendants clanged against each other. The sound was clear. As the small figure gradually disappeared, my chest felt like a piece was missing. I reached out and pressed it down strongly. Boundless loneliness spread over me. Again, people say he is addicted to martial arts and has a heart as cruel as a snake. The imperial court is secretly dangerous and vicious. However, he was born with the ability to manipulate power. He schemed against others for 24 years until his soul was in turmoil. He remembers the powerful and the high-ranking officials, and has never been kind. Such a cunning and deceitful governor of the capital unexpectedly lost a sincere heart in Shuzhou. He accidentally met Miss Qinglu in the courtyard. He felt extremely sorry for her and cherished her, but in the end, he still could not keep her by his side. The night gradually fell, the clear moon shone on the stream, and the tall horse finally slowly disappeared into the depths of the long street. The luong flowers in Thuc Chau have not bloomed yet. The luong fruit she promised to give him in the end still cannot be eaten.